This is the Self-Aware Leader Podcast. Now your host, Jason Rigby.
We're going to get into something heavy today. For some of you, it may be controversial. I know what's going on right now. We know what's going to be happening in November. I want you to hold a dichotomy. What do I mean by that? That means embracing the uncomfortable truth that great strengths can coexist with deep flaws. Let me say that again. Holding a dichotomy means embracing the uncomfortable truth that great strengths can coexist with deep flaws. Even within ourselves, can it? Why do we have this black or it's white? This person has to be this way. And if they're this way, their actions must be this. Why can't you have a Prius owner that loves the environment and at the same time is a gunsmith? Why can't we have somebody that loves to be an activist and has blue hair and at the same time enjoys libertarian philosophy? You see what I'm saying here? It is this idea as a leader that we don't become tribal, that we're able to take the great strength of someone and their deep flaws and hold that. Just imagine that. I want you to hold that for a second. And I'm not talking left or right. You need the left for the creativity, for the art. You need a balance of that, right? And you need the right for what? Law and structure. It's the yin and the yang, the black and the white, the masculine and the feminine, isn't it? And these things must coexist and balance together. Picking a side only hurts you as a leader. We all know of great leaders that had amazing strengths, but huge deep flaws. You may have seen that in a mentor and it may have hurt you. Maybe you had somebody that you looked up to and then you saw them do something out of character and it ruined you. Maybe you were in a relationship and you looked at this person and then in a weak moment they did something that just destroyed your trust in them. But it's in ourselves, isn't it? It's the demon on one shoulder and the angel on the other, isn't it? I watched a Teal Swan video, and she's controversial. Her name is Teal Swan, S-W-A-N. She has a video called And Consciousness. She also did a blog post, and so this is my inspiration on this. I want to talk about dichotomy and leadership. Jocko Willink talks about this, also the Navy SEAL. But what is embracing complexity? What is authentic or authenticity in leadership? What is you embracing people all messed up? And I think Jesus was the perfect example of this. I always go to him because to me, he's like number one for leader. Whether you're a Christian or not, it does not matter. I mean, some people would say I'm not a Christian because I have a spiritual podcast called Higher Density Living, and they'd say I have New Age thoughts or whatever it may be, and they would question that, but I don't care. You can't put me in a basket. I have leftist views and I have right views. If you talk to me about a certain issue, you would think I'm pretty conservative. If you talk to me about other issues, you would think I'm pretty liberal. And we're all that way, aren't we? We're all complex. But as leaders, we're frequently taught to be decisive and project certainty. But we know the people that we lead, guys. We know these people that we lead, they're not black and white. And you cannot have truly impactful leadership unless you're willing to embrace the contradictory, unless you're willing to embrace the complex, unless you can understand that in that uncomfortable gray space that there's mass amounts of power there. And Teal Swan talks about this in her thought-provoking exploration of dichotomy. And she offers, I believe, a powerful lens to re-examine how we lead and then also how we see ourselves, being a self-aware leader. She talks about the discomfort of and. That big word, three-letter word, A-N-D, the discomfort of and. Our brains crave simplicity. We want easy answers. We want to join a tribe. We need neat, clean, nice little narratives. We like to look and witness and say this is good and this is bad. These traits are bad in these people and these people are bad, and these traits are good in these people and these people are good. But guess what? They coexist in each and every person. Bad and good traits coexist. Whether it's someone we lead, a public figure, or even us, and deep down we know the mistakes and the failures. We know that dark, shadowy stuff, and I hope you've been studying Carl Jung and being self-aware that you're doing the shadow work. Those things that are inside of us, the trauma that causes us to react in such a way that we're selfish, right? That we're not just selfish, but we tend to have this voice of self-pity that makes us narcissistic, doesn't it? And as a leader, a lot of times we can look for others to appease that instead of willing to understand that in my struggle is my power. In my authenticity is how I lead. And this cognitive dissonance that we have, this struggle to tolerate things, it leads to, number one, demonizing or glorifying. Demonizing or glorifying. Kind of religious words, aren't they? Demonizing or glorifying. Biased narratives, all or nothing thinking, undermining judgment. All of these things as a leader doesn't create balance in your organization. I've seen this happen over and over and over again. I've seen a conservative leader, let's say. He's got a suit on every day. He loves Jesus. He loves Trump. He's wearing the American flag on his lapel. And he has a super hard worker that has pink and blue and red hair, and he's afraid to fire her. And he knows that what she does, he's seen her Facebook. He sees that she's left and is vegan and all the things that irritate him. But she does a pretty good job. I encourage you to love that person. I encourage you to put more attention into them. I encourage you to step across that line. You don't have to give up your beliefs. You don't have to change your clothing. That's not what I'm talking about. We see that today, don't we? In religions and in churches, everybody's like trying to be cool and hip. That's not what I'm asking you to do. Wear your tie, wear your suit. Because who cares about the outer stuff, right? Who cares if the youth pastor has spiked hair and the church is playing rock and roll music and, worship band is crazy with the lights and it looks like a cool concert from Coldplay. Who cares about all that? And I love worship music. I'm not demeaning any of that. I'm just saying we want to change things externally instead of understanding that it comes from the heart. Leadership comes from the heart, guys. Loving people that you're uncomfortable with, coaching them, understanding that you're going to feel vulnerable, and that's awesome. And not being political with them, even though you want to, not having a desire to change them, holding that dichotomy, holding them and say, it is not me. It is not my responsibility to change them politically. It's not my responsibility to fix these people. It is my responsibility to love and coach them and allow them to flourish in this position that they're in, that I'm a leader with. And they are a team member, and I am there to serve. Next is splitting. We compartmentalize, don't we? We see people, all good, all bad. What happens when we begin to compartmentalize and split? It fuels inconsistent reactions, Because the people that you feel are good, the people that you relate the most to, they're the ones you're taking to lunch or the ones you're favoring. And the people that you view as bad or that you don't really like, those are the ones that get left out in the crow. And guess what happens when you do that? You split the team in half and you erode trust. Because now you have favoritism. And when you have favoritism, listen to me, when you have favoritism, it will always erode trust in the team. Everyone must know that you love them equally. Next, lost opportunities. When we can't tolerate nuance, we may miss out on the growth potential held with the challenges and the flaws. We don't know. And let's say you're a leader. Susan, you're the leader. And you're far left and you love protecting animals and you love doing this. And we can all label this, can't we? All what the far left is. And Jim came in. And you saw that he was watching during his lunch break while he's eating a sandwich, he was watching a Trump speech. And you're like, I need to get rid of this guy. This guy is sick. He is gross. He has nothing to do with women. But until then, you always thought that he did a good job. And he was respectful to you. That's a lost opportunity. Now it's time to show love. Can we tolerate nuance? Can we see that it's not a flaw, that that's a silly bias that we've acquired because of our way that we grew up? Have you got to know people? You don't have to talk political. Don't talk political at all. Political is a nightmare. Don't do that. You can ask where somebody grew up. You can ask how their childhood was. And if they get enough respect and trust for you, they'll open up and share everything with you. People love to do that. They love to talk about themselves. Next, expanding your leadership capacity, becoming the container. Teal Swan coins the term unconscious, the ability to hold opposing truths simultaneously. For a leader, I'm telling you guys, this is transformative. So how do we do this? How do we become the container? Number one, beyond judgment. By holding both good and bad aspects of a person or situation, we lessen knee-jerk reactions and make more informed choices. We're going to pause, not let our emotions or biases take over. We're going to hold it, contain the good and the bad. It's just an aspect of what our bias is telling us. We're going to look at the person in the situation and we're going to weigh it out. And then we're going to make a more informed choice. Next, seeing the whole. The broader perspective helps us see potential blind spots in individuals and ourselves, fostering better long-term strategies. Step back. Let the emotions, just pull back from the emotions. Pull away physically. Sometimes I physically walk away from a situation. You can just sit there and be like, whatever. And then I'm like, I'm going to go take a walk. I'll be right back. Get some fresh air. Pull yourself out of the situation. Take a broader perspective. So just pretend like you're your mentor and your mentor pulled himself back and he's looking at you and your wiser mentor would tell you this, this, or this. What is a long-term strategy for this? I love writing those down. What is the long-term strategy for this? If I had patience and I was loving, what would this situation look like, Jason? Doesn't that diffuse it right there? Ugh. Next, nurturing growth. Understanding complexity allows space for people, including ourselves, to evolve. That's what it's all about, right? We as humans are evolving into a higher consciousness. It may take us millions of years. We may be extinct by that time that happens. I don't know, but that's what I believe is happening. I believe I slowly am evolving. As I learn, I evolve. And it takes life situations and bad things and good things, whatever that's perceived to be based off of what rules that were made from 1500s. Come on. I'm not defined by my past mistakes, and neither should your employees either. I want all my employees to be consistently growing and evolving and learning. That's what it's about. If my team is growing, evolving, and leading, guess what's happening? My company is growing, evolving, and leading. Think about that. Next, how to become a leader who holds dichotomy. Question your assumptions. Self-awareness. Here we go, guys. Question your assumptions. When you find yourself categorizing someone as always or never, that's an indication right there. Be self-aware, trigger right there to pause. Seek out information that challenges your current view. Always seek out information that challenges your current view. Watch the podcast of the opposite of you. An intelligent person that makes a great argument on both sides is what you need to read. Challenger. If you don't want to read that, then you've got an issue and you need to work on that. You should be able as a leader to hold dichotomy. Next, explore the root of extremes. If you're stuck seeing someone as perfect or monstrous, ask yourself, how does this belief serve me? I've heard this a long time ago. This is so great. How does this belief serve me? Many of you have old beliefs you just learned when you were in Sunday school, or you were, in Catholic school, or you were in public school, whatever type of school, and you grew up in this little town or this big town, and you just developed these beliefs, and you've never asked, how does these beliefs serve me? Am I avoiding something uncomfortable? This is a big one for you passive-aggressive leaders. You need to ask yourself as a leader, am I avoiding something uncomfortable? Next, check your nervous system. All or nothing spikes when we're stressed. It puts out the fight or flight. Practice calming techniques, breathing, and have a more objective mindset. This is an opportunity as a leader when a problem arises. When you get triggered, that's an opportunity to learn, and you need to recognize this is just cool. This is just awesome. This is just an opportunity. I'm ready to learn. Here we go. Next, embrace the in-between. Oh, no one does this nowadays. Our society is not able to embrace the in-between. Leadership isn't just about having all the answers. Model comfort with, I'm not sure yet. Get used to saying that. I'm not sure yet. Let's have a meeting on it in next week, in 24 hours. Let's explore the new nuances as a team together. Hey, I'm not sure yet. Maybe we should have a team meeting and let's explore this nuance together. And let the team learn alongside of you. Imagine that. Everyone learning together. Creates trust, creates harmony, unity, makes a peaceful workplace. Wow. The challenge of authentic leadership. This isn't about condoning harmful behavior or ignoring red flags. That's not what I'm saying here. But it is about becoming a leader who understands that people are messy. Teams have rough patches. And even your best intentions sometimes have unforeseen consequences. I said this in the beginning, and I'll close with this. Holding dichotomy means embracing the uncomfortable truth that great strengths can coexist with deep flaws, even within ourselves. That's where transformative leadership begins.
Thank you for tuning in to the Self-Aware Leader Podcast with host Jason Rigby. We hope this episode has inspired you to unleash your full potential and embrace your inner leadership. By expanding your consciousness, you can transform your mind, body, and soul and become the remarkable leader you were always meant to be. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with your loved ones and help us expand our community. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to having you join us again on the Self-Aware Leader Podcast.